about his powers and his sweetness in this chapter. And it is also called Gyan Vigyan Yoga. So, and we will dive deeper into that. So, what we do today is we will, if you do not have a copy of Gita, what you can do is you can type in your phone BG 7.1 and you will see a link of the Veda base. Then you can actually, do we have a copy of, extra copy of Gita?
I think I
What? No, we'll do a reading. Like, it's not something that. So, it's like a collaborative session. We do reading together, and for that, like, it's good to see what you are actually reading. It goes more to your mind. So, BG 7.1, if you type, the first link that will appear is of Veda base. Yeah, if you mind sharing, yeah, you can take that. Yeah, absolutely. Whatever feels like, yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Oh, nice art. All right. So in this age, it is said that your mind is not really that well capable of holding so much information. So what do we use? Pustak, the book. So Mastak is the mind. Then there are senior devotees here. They will like to take. They would be happy, I think, to take some of your questions. If not, then of course there is another session that will happen, and you can bring forward your questions. Like Gita is all about asking questions and getting answers, and the same goes with life. So, all right. Who wants to volunteer? Do you want to go first? No.
don't have the Sanskrit.
I can read this Sanskrit, okay. So, knowledge of the absolute Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Maya Sakta Manah Partha Yogam Yunjan Mad Ashrayah Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Jnanasi Tat Shunu.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." Purport plays to my grace, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how he manifests such opulences is described herein. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna, and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna are described in this chapter. In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul, capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. In personal Brahmajyoti, or localized Paramatma, realization is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth, because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge beyond any doubt. Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahmayoti or Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth. The living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms of sarvatma. In the first and most important, the Lord therefore says to Arjuna, "Tak churo," or "hear from me." No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfectly Krishna conscious person. One has to therefore learn from Krishna directly or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart, puffed up with academic education. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is described in the second chapter of the first canto as follows. Krishna.
Shrinvatam Svakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hriday Antastho Hai Abhadrani Vidhunoti Suhrit Satam Nashta Prayeshva Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Tada Rajas Tamo Bhavah Kama Lobhadayaschaye Chet Etar Anavidham Sthitam Sattve Prasidati एवं प्रसन्न मनसो भगवत भक्ति योगतः भगवत तत्व विज्ञाना मुक्त संगस्य जायते भीद्यते हृदय ग्रंथस छिद्यन्ते सर्व संशयः क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मना मन ईश्वर.
To hear about Krishna from Vedic literature, or to hear from Krishna, or to hear him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself a righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlightened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga serves the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the state of asamrayam.
Samshayam samagram.
Exactly. Understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17 to 21. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee, Krishna consciousness, can one understand the science of Krishna.
Sure, thank you. So, in this verse, what is Krishna saying, Arjun? That, oh Arjun, listen, with mind attached exclusively to me and surrendering to me through practice of Bhakti Yoga, you can know me completely, free from any doubt. And if, like I'm not sure, who is reading Gita, who has never read Gita?
I have.
You haven't, okay. And are you reading Gita for the first time?
No.
Okay, great. So, for your reference, it's chapter 6, Krishna talks about what are the different qualities one can inculcate within himself to become a great yogi. And it basically focuses on 5 qualities, that how one's mind should be focused on him, how he should not be very perturbed in the situation of good or bad, like he should be very remain very calm in whatever the situation is, etc., etc. And he concludes last chapter saying that out of every people, like the one who wants to, who is not really very devoted, but he's a karmyogi, like he is doing a lot of work, but at the same time the fruit of his work is kind of devoting it to in the service of Krishna, etc. So there are different kinds of yogi that is described. And out of all those yogis, who is the best? The one who takes the path of Krishna consciousness, the one who strives to learn about Krishna, about God, and tries to establish the lost relationship that the soul has with the Absolute. That's what he's talking about. Now the question may come in our mind that, okay, how do we do that? You know, how do we basically get to know him? And how do we serve him? All these questions arises, and in that way, hence Krishna says that Maya asakta manaha, that mind focused on me, shrunu. Shrunu means listen. Listen to me attentively. so that he's going to talk about like how one can serve him, how one can devote his life to him. Okay, in this in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes very beautifully that in chapter 6 also there is the definition of different realizations one can have. Like we see in our life that somebody is very very focused, or they have a deity that they worship to. Somebody is very very inclined to Krishna, somebody is very very inclined to different demigods based on their wish, their desire, right? In the same way, there are three forms of Lord as well. Like one is the Brahma Jyoti. So if, for example, there is this tube light, right? There is tube light, and then we see the light. So the light has a source, right? What is the source? The source that we see the light, but where is it coming from? There's a bulb that is there. So that's the source, and there's a light. So few people worship the light. They think light is God. Brahma Jyoti and all. And then some people worship the localized form of Paramatma. So it is said that God resides within our heart. In what form? Paramatma. And so few people worship in that form. And then there is the original form of the Lord, which is like his real form that scriptures describe. Like you can see here, you can see different temples. So few people worship the form of the original form of the Lord, how the scripture describes, based on that. But unless and until one is not fully, trying to learn about how God looks like, what are his pastimes, what are his activities, he or she may not be able to like fully realize what exactly, the relationship is with the soul to the super soul, like that. It is said, so that is why it is important that, sitting, Shastra says, or the scripture says, is sitting among devotees and relishing the different stories of the katha or the pastimes of the Lord helps one cleanses his heart and get rid of different bad things that we have in our heart, like lust, anger, greed, envy, etc. How do we do? Even taking the names of the Lord, what happens? When we chant the name of the Lord, it comes out of our mouth, it goes into our ear, and it basically helps in cleansing the heart. So that, we are able to see realize that, who's Krishna. There is one very interesting story of a devotee called Madhusudan Saraswati. So he basically had this Advaitvad, if you have heard of this term, that God has no form, and then he's formless, etc., etc. And he used to have a coat. So he was from Varanasi, a place that I come from. It's a holy city of India, and he used to conduct a court where he would debate with different people, give a lot of logics like there is no form of God, and the followers of him used to revere him a lot. But then a time came when there is this a Ghori, it's like a Ghori Baba, it is said. It's one form of worship in the mode of ignorance that happens. So they smear ash on their body, they live in the cremation ground, etc. That kind of rituals that they follow. So there is this Ghori Baba that he came in his court and he said, Madhusudan Saraswati, do you feel good when you have defeated someone in the debate? If you feel good, and do you feel bad as well if you have defeated someone in the debate? Like, does those dualities of feeling still exist in you? Then you have not realized anything. And that hit him so hard that then that Baba told him to go to Vrindavan and meditate. And he went and he meditated, and he was meditating, and his meditation came to a clearing, the image of Krishna. And he wrote this very beautiful 4 lines for that realization that he had. And he writes, what was the first? Hang on a second, I have to, I know this. Yes. It is like, Vamshi Vibhushit Karanavniradavat Pitambarat Bimbarunadaroshtat Purnendu Sundar Mukhar Arvinda Netrat Krishnat Param Kimapi Tattvam Aham Najani. And what does it mean? That Vamshi Vibhushit Karanavniradavat, that I see this one person who is carrying this flute and standing like this. Krishna stands like with his head tilted, carrying this flute, and he's wearing this yellow dhoti, yellow garment, and playing his flute, and he's very sweet. And apart from him, I know nothing. That's what his realization was. So when he came back, and suddenly his followers was like, "Oh Guruji, then what new thing you learned to do?" And that's what he ends up telling. But that's what I know. There is nothing exists like formless God. There is a form, and that is the form that I saw. So that's what Krishna is trying to establish here. That how do we know him? By
Hearing?
Yes, by hearing about him, by focusing our mind on him. And in chapter 6 that we touched, like how can we focus our mind on him? By taking his name, by meditating, by doing our sadhana, not only sitting here and theoretically reading. Okay? So that's what Bhagwan says. Alright? And only by that, nothing else, no other process can help us rekindle that relationship with him apart from sitting among devotees and reading the scriptures, which is the real source of authority for everything. Okay? Alright. Text 2. Who wants to buy one? Sorry, you don't have a copy, so what you can do is, are you going to sit here for some time?
Yeah, but I could do it.
Yeah, just take it's good to see what we are doing. So what we do is you can open Google and just type BG 7.2, and the first thing that you get of database, you can actually see what we are reading, no? Okay. Who wants to go? You also can, Mataji, if you want to sit and read Gita with us, you can open that in your phone and Alright, text 2, who wants to read? John, do you want to read? No? Yeah? Please go ahead. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Jnanam te hamsa vijnanam idam vakshyasmi asheshtah yaj jnatva neha bhuyo nyaj jnanatvam avashishyate.
I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and nominous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Purport. Complete knowledge includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and the source of both of them. This is transcendental knowledge. The Lord wants to explain the above-mentioned system of knowledge because Arjuna is Krishna's confidential devotee and friend. In the beginning of the 4th chapter, this explanation was given by the Lord, and it is again confirmed here. Complete knowledge can be achieved only by the devotee of the Lord in the cyclic succession directly from the Lord. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all causes and the only object for meditation in all types of yoga practice. When the cause of all causes becomes known, then everything knowable becomes known, and nothing remains unknown. The Vedas say,
Kasmin yu bhagavo Vijnate sarvam idam vijnatam bhava iti. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So, in this purport, Krishna says that, is going to give the practical knowledge and as well as the transcendental knowledge, the divine knowledge. And he says to Arjun that when I reveal this to you, nothing else will remain unknown to you. That's what he is saying. That there is nothing else that you need to know. So when he says Gyan, Savi Gyan Midam. So Gyan is what? Gyan technically defines to the literal English term, which is called knowledge. What is knowledge? What do you think is knowledge? How do you get knowledge in this world? Pardon?
From what sources we collect information?
From?
All the sources around us.
Yes. How do we get knowledge? From all these sources?
Usually from our elders and
Yes.
before us.
There is this was one of the verses that we discussed in chapter 6, that our knowledge is basically, it comes from the applying the mind, intellect and senses, right? We are seeing with our eyes, we are trying to memorize things using our brain, right? So that kind of knowledge. And material knowledge, how we are gaining? By utilizing our senses, our mind, our intellect, by utilizing the resources, by, as John Prabhu said, by utilizing the resources, also by and there is a social conditioning as well, that there are, like he said, from our elders, there are certain things that we learn from our elders where we never question, and then it's like it's part of a certain culture, society, etc. So there is a gyan, there is this material knowledge, the degrees that we have, we are utilizing the body to gain it. But Vigyan is what? The knowledge gained through spiritual practice. It is, and an example of honey is, most of the time it is given that we see a jar of honey. We know theoretically it's what? How does honey taste? Sweet. We know it. But unless and until we open the jar and we taste it, we will not have the experiential realization. Correct? We would not know it is sweet. We have gained the knowledge. Somebody told us, like the first time we saw the honey when we were little, and our parents might have said that, oh, it's sweet. How did we know? We tasted it. So Vigyan, the science of spirituality or the science of self-realization, is only known to us when a guru, a teacher, gives that gyan in the theoretical format. Right? And we have to practice it. We have to practice it through sadhana, through mantra, meditation, etc. As per our acquired gyan or acquired knowledge. And what happens when we practice that? What does it do? What was I saying like a minute ago? What does the names of the Lord does to our consciousness? It cleans, yeah, it purifies our heart. So we know the theoretical. What we are doing right now is that we are sitting here together and we are reading something. We are trying to gain that knowledge, and we have to also practice it. So we practice it through sitting, meditating, etc. And when that meditation purifies our mind, only then Vigyan, or the science of self-realization is attained. That self-realization attained within our heart. So that is what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna. And in this verse, Krishna affirms that, he will bestow, Arjuna, I'm going to give you that knowledge, so that this theoretical knowledge, and once this knowledge is achieved, nothing else remains for you to know. Alright? Shlok 2. Yeah, Shlok 3. Sorry, I also would like to touch base on one thing. In the purport, we said disciplic succession. The complete knowledge can be achieved only by the devotee of the Lord in disciplic succession. Very important. What does it mean? You want to?
That's passed down from person to person.
Yes. It's someone who has already realized that knowledge is only in the authority, like in the position to give you that knowledge. Krishna has touched I think in, I'm forgetting the shlok, he talks about that he gave this knowledge to, does anybody remember? He says that he gave this knowledge to sun god. Vivaswan. Yes, good. I was just testing. So, yes. He gives this knowledge to Vivaswan, and then Vivaswan gave this knowledge to Manu, the first progenitor of humankind, the first human. So, I gave away. So, Krishna says that I gave this knowledge to sun god, Vivaswan. Vivaswan gave this knowledge to Manu. Manu then further passed on this knowledge to Ikshvaku. Yes. Ikshvaku appeared in which dynasty? No. He was Suryavanshi. He appeared like in the lineage of Lord Ram. Lord Ram appeared in that lineage. So he says, and then Arjun was very baffled that, what do you mean by you gave this knowledge to sun god? We are here, like you are standing in front of me, and you're talking about that you gave this knowledge to sun god like many years ago, and how is that possible? And then Arjun like expands more on, and it's a very beautiful different chapter to like read into that. It's not that you were not there and I was not there. You were also there. It's just I remember everything and you do not. And sometimes why do I appear? Because with the passage of time, the knowledge gets lost. There's no order in the society. So I appear to like establish that order, to bring forth that knowledge again into the society so humankind can benefit. Okay, so it is important that we get this knowledge from someone who already has acquired or like realized that knowledge, not from anybody on the street. Like somebody who has practiced it, felt it, meditated upon it. Those who are in the authority, who is reading all these things, right? They are in the position, like in the material world also, we just do not go on the street and it's like, hey, can you teach me ABCD? No, there is an institution. There is an institution that we have to go to, register, enroll ourselves into, and then there is a proper way of getting that knowledge. Then we get our degree and etc. Similar thing goes with the spiritual knowledge as well, that you cannot just really go to based on our own. There are 4 kind of institution you can say that God described that, I gave this information to these 4 people, and then 4 lineages starts. So based on our own interest, based on that who should be our primary deity, people go to these different sampradayas, they are called, different institutions, and then they gain that knowledge. So this is also very important that we try to associate ourselves within that disciplic succession and gain this knowledge from a particular guru, a teacher who has realized this. Make sense? Okay, alright. So we will move on to Shlok 3. Who wants to volunteer? we're actually reading Gita. If you are going to sit, like, you can Google BG 7.3 and you will get the first link of Veda base, and then you can see what we are exactly reading. It actually helps, isn't it? 2 seconds.
It says he's the only object for meditation.
She's reading. No, who's reading? She's reading.
No, it's a question.
What?
I have a question on the last.
We'll take the questions at the very last. Okay, Mataji, if you want to start.
मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु कश्चित् यथाति सिद्धये यथार्थम् अपि सिद्धानां कश्चन मम यति वेत्ति तत्त्वतः. Translation: out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. The purport: there are various grades of men, and out of many thousands, one may be sufficiently interested in transcendental realization to try to know what is the self, what is the body, and what is the absolute truth. Generally, mankind is simply engaged in the animal propensities, namely eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, and hardly anyone is interested in transcendental knowledge. The first 6 chapters of the Gita are meant for those who are interested in transcendental knowledge, in understanding the self, the super self, and the process of realization of Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and discrimination of the self from the matter. However, Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness. Other transcendentalists may achieve impersonal Brahman realization, for this is easier than understanding Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Person. But at the same time, he is beyond the knowledge of Brahman and Paramatma. The yogis and jnanis are confused in their attempts to understand Krishna. Although the greatest of the impersonalists, Sripada Shankaracharya, has admitted in the Gita commentary that Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead. His followers do not accept Krishna as such, for it is very difficult to know Krishna, even though one has transcendental realization of impersonal Brahman. Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the primal Lord Govinda, Ishvaraha, Paramaha, Krishnaha,
Satchidananda Vigraha,
Vigraha,
Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakaran Karanam.
It is very difficult for the non-devotees to know him, although non-devotees declare that the path of bhakti or devotional service is very easy. They cannot practice it. If the path of bhakti is so easy as the non-devotee class of men proclaim, then why do they take up the difficult path? Actually, the path of bhakti is not easy. The so-called path of bhakti practiced by unauthorized persons without knowledge of bhakti may be easy, but when it is practiced factually according to the rules and regulations, the speculative scholars and philosophers fall away from the path.
Srila Rupa Goswami writes in his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Ekantiki Harir Bhaktir upadayeva kalpate.
Devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, and Narada Pancharatras is simply an unnecessary disturbance in the society. It is not possible for the Brahman, realized impersonalist, or the Paramatma, realized yogi, to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the son of Mother Yashoda or the charioteer of Arjuna. Even the great demigods are sometimes confused about Krishna.
Mohiyanti yat suryaha mam tu veda na kaschana.
No one knows me as I am, the Lord says, and if one does know him, then sa mahatma su
Durlabha.
durlabha. Such a great soul is very rare. Therefore, unless one practices devotional service to the Lord, one cannot know Krishna as he is tattvataha, even though one is a great scholar or philosopher. Only the pure devotees can know something of the inconvincible transcendental qualities in Krishna. His being the cause of all causes, his omnipotence and opulence, and his wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, because Krishna is benevolently inclined to his devotees. He is the last word in Brahman realization, and the devotees alone can realize him, and he is
As
he
he is.
is. Therefore, it is said,
अतः श्री कृष्ण नामादि न भवेद ग्रहण इंद्रिय सेवोन्मुखे ही जीवादो स्वयं एव स्फुरति पादः.
no one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material sense, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him. Bhakti
Rasamrita Sindhu.
Sindhu.
Thank you. Haribol. So, it's important to see what Krishna is trying to say in this verse, that among thousands of men, hardly one strives for perfection. And among those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. A word is used here, siddhi. It can have numerous connotations. The word siddhi, the Sanskrit word. What do you think siddhi means?
The power.
Power? Yeah, some sort of supernatural power that one is trying to achieve, and they are like worshipping a particular kind of deity to get that. Yes. So, attainment of supernatural power. Yes. What else? What do you think?
Blessing?
Blessing. It relates to attainment, accomplishment. If I have completed a cooking, I might say I've done siddhi. Performance, fulfillment. What else? Like I said, like cooking is one of the tasks. Completion of a task, siddhi. Hitting a mark, siddhi. So siddhi means, and here perfection in the spiritual path. So Krishna is saying that thousands of men who strive for perfection, like one of them, out of those, one of them try to what? Succeed. Like one of them try to strive for perfection, and those who are thousands of people who are like striving perfection, among them one may strive to know me, and the one who is, so imagine, like I'm doing the math here, like, and the people who are striving to know him, out of those people only one Very rare soul gets to know him in reality. It's what Krishna is saying, that one who takes the path of devotion and become a devotee. And so spiritual aspirants who do not really do their sadhana is what Krishna is telling, like we heard that they do not really practically follow what they are reading, they won't be able to achieve him or know about him. It's like reading theory. I give this example all the time about the chemistry lab that, some of us, if you are from the science background, you would have a subject chemistry and you are reading it in your class, trying to understand different equations, different sample solution. But unless and until you have gone into the lab and performed those experiments, you would not really, then you will realize that, oh my god, I was reading all these things and now I can actually see that, all these solutions work together and give certain results, certain colors, etc. So that is what the spiritual aspirants who do not really include devotion in their sadhana, they're very, very limited to their theoretical knowledge. They do not acquire or they do not get to know him. Actually, Bhagwan gives anything if you want. A person, if they want wealth, oh God, please, this much of wealth I want. He's like, okay, take it. Easy for him to give. If a person wants followers, Jai Jaikar, if they want their fame is what, like, the boost I do, that oh my god, I have so many followers. These days it's so, the followers are very thrown word because of the social media. So he's like, okay, that also. If a person wants, a spouse, a wife, husband for them, that is also something that Bhagavan or God is willing to give you. If a person wants siddhi, some sort of mystical power, okay, take it. If they want moksha, what is moksha? Liberation. So if someone wants moksha, that also Krishna gives. But if someone wants bhakti, which is rarest, that is something that Krishna is like, oh, he wants devotion. He wants my devotional service. It is very, very hard for him to give. Like, something we make our effort. Because the rest of the things that I said, wealth, fame, opposite gender, I should not say opposite gender in today's era, but yeah, siddhi, some sort of mystical power, and the moksha, they all have some sort of selfish element. Alright? Wealth is we are asking wealth for whom? For us. We are asking name for whom? Our name should be there in the world. We are asking for moksha, this like, oh my god, all these things doesn't make sense to me. I am done with this world. I want mukti. I want liberation. So we are thinking about whom? Us. But when we talk about bhakti or devotional service, we are thinking about Krishna. We are thinking about Krishna. So that's why it is very, very rare, Krishna is saying. And it is in 11.54 and 18.55, if somebody wants to go back and read, in these two verses also he expands on the importance of devotional service and bhakti. So that's what he's saying, that among thousands and thousands of people, thousands of men who strive for perfection, out of those one, like Krishna would, one tried to know me, and then one who actually and among those who try to know me, only one rare soul gets to know me. Okay? And the further he describes, he's going to describe the spiritual energy and the material energy in the coming shloka. Okay? Does anybody want to? Are we on? No, we have time. 4, do you want to read? John, do you want to read? Oh, you want to read? Okay, go.
Dhumir apo alo vayu kham mano mukti evacha ankara kyam me vina prakritir
Astadha. Yeah.
So air, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together, these 8 constitute my separate material energies. Purport. The science of God analyzes the constitutional position of God and his diverse energies. Material nature is called Prakriti, or the energy of the Lord in his different Purasa incarnations, expansions as described in the Satvata Tantra. Vishnu's two Tirni Rupani
पुरुषाख्या आख्यानि अथो विदुः एकं तु महतः षष्ठ द्वितीयं तम् अण्डसमस्थितं तृतीयं सर्वभूतस्थं तानि ज्ञानात्वा विमुच्यते.
For material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumes 3 Vishnus. The first one, Mahavishnu, creates the total material energy known as Mahatattva. The second, Garbhodhaka Sai, Vishnu enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. The third,
Shirodakshai Vishnu.
Vishnu is diffused as the all-pervading supersoul in all the universes and is known as Paramatma. He is the present even within the atoms. Anyone who knows these 3 Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. This material world is a temporary manifestation of one of the energies of the Lord. All the activities of the material world are directed by these 3 Vishnus, expansion of Lord Krishna. These
Purush are called
incarnations. Generally, one who does not know the science of God Krishna assumes that this material world is for the enjoyment of living entities and that the living entities are the Purushas, the causes, the controllers and the enjoyers of the material energies. According to the Bhagavad Gita, this atheistic conclusion is false. In the verse under discussion, it is stated that Krishna is the original cause of the material manifestation. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms this. The ingredients of the material manifestation are separated energies of the Lord. Even the Brahma Jyotir, which is the ultimate goal of the impersonate bliss, is a spiritual energy manifested in the spiritual sky. There are no spiritual diversities in the Brahma Jyotir are there in the Vaikuntha Lokas, and the impersonist accepts this Brahma Jyotir as the ultimate eternal goal. The Paramatma manifestation is also temporary. All pervasive aspect of the Shirodhaka Sai Vishnu, the Paramatma manifestation, is not eternal in the spiritual world. Therefore, the actual absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of the Godhead Krishna. He is the complete energetic person and he possesses different separated in the internal energies. In the material energy, the principal manifestations are 8 as above mentioned. Out of these, the first 5 manifestations, namely earth, water, fire, air, sky, are called the 5 gigantic creations or the gross creations, within which the 5 sense objects are included. They are the manifestations of the physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Material science comprises these 10 items and nothing more, but other 3 items, namely mind, intelligence, and false ego, are neglected by the materialists. Philosophers who deal with mental activities are also not perfect in knowledge because they do not know the ultimate source Krishna. The false ego, I am and it is mine, which constitute the basic principle of material existence, includes 10 sense organs for material activities. Intelligence refers to the total material creation called the Mahatattva. Therefore, from the 8 separated energies of the Lord or manifest the 24 elements of the material world, which are the subject matter of Sankhya atheistic philosophy. They are originally offshoots from Krishna's energies and are separated from him. But atheistic Sankhya philosophers with a poor fund of knowledge do not know Krishna as the cause of all causes. The subject matter for discussion in the Samkhya philosophy is the only manifestation of the eternal energy of Krishna as it is described in the Vedas.
Thank you very good. So here Krishna is talking about, now Krishna describes in the coming verses his material and spiritual dimensions of his energy. Matter, there is a matter and there is spirit. A very, very class example would be if we go to a funeral and we see a body lying. Technically, I can ask this question that the person is still there. But what was there that left? Why the person is not moving? The consciousness. The entity that was providing consciousness to the body so that it could move, it could perform different activities, etc., is no longer there. Now, I can't see it. Can we see it?
No.
We cannot see it, but at least we can feel it, that there was some element that is now missing. Correct? For example, if there is an overcast in the sky, like I'm just loving the Dublin weather, the rare 5 days of summer that we had, and even if tomorrow, not that I'm doing any kind of jinx, but there is a forecast that's going to be overcast tomorrow. We wake up in the morning and there is no sun, but there is light. So is it fair to say, to conclude that it's the daytime? Correct? We are not able to see the sun, but we are able to see the light. And it's fair to say, okay, there is a sunlight and it's the daytime. And we can go on and do our activities. Right? The similar analogy is that there is a body lying, I can't see it moving, but there was something that was making it move to its activities. There was existence of a particular entity which is missing, and right now I see that there is this particular person lying, but he's not moving. So what can we say? It's fair to conclude that there was this spirit that left the body. Something was there that left the body which made it immovable. Okay? So Krishna is saying even that matter is my energy. It is also coming from me. And he says that there are 8 elements that he defines here: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All these together constitute my separated material energy. Now, matter is divided in 2 parts. Who can tell me? The gross elements and the subtle. The matter is divided in gross and subtle. These 2 parts. The gross elements are the 5 elements: air, water, earth, fire, ether are the gross elements that you can see. Now, Krishna defines there's a subtle element as well that resides within us. What are those 3 subtle elements?
Intelligence, mind, and false ego.
The mind, intelligence, and false ego. Even if our body gets just, at death, the subtle body, our scripture says, is alive. Our mind, false ego, intelligence, and it passes on. If we are taking birth again, that's how it goes. So Krishna is saying that all these 2 elements, the gross and the subtle elements, which constitute the matter, comes from me. And energy that comprises these material world is very complex and really fathomless. We can agree, right? Even the modern scientists, to make it easy for us to understand, in the modern science, how many elements are identified till date? Chemistry. 118. 118. Thank you, Prabhuji. 118 elements are identified and they are sectioned under the periodic table. Okay? So just to make it easy for us, modern science depicts that. But however, in the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedic philosophy, there is a different classification of this material world. That matter is considered as the part of God's energy. It's called Prakriti, and they are further divided into 8 forms which are listed. Matter 8 forms which are listed, which are like part of gross and the subtle elements. So isn't it amazing that how insightful these ancient scriptures were, that they provide this kind of knowledge to us even like before modern science could get to us, right? So the primordial form or the old form of the material nature is called Prakriti. Actually, there is a whole, so there for material creation we saw in the purport that Krishna expands his plenary expansion and assume three Vishnu's form. The Mahavishnu, the Garbhodakshai Vishnu and the Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So Mahavishnu creates the total material energy known as Mahat Tattva. The Garbhodakshai Vishnu enters into the universes to create diversities in each one of them. And the third one is Kshirodakshai Vishnu, which is basically that Krishna expands himself in all different and like goes into all different atoms, even us, like he resides as a Paramatma form. So he's there. When we say Lord resides within us, this is the proof, right? And it's a very, very deeper science actually, that it's very deeply defined, like how exactly this Prakriti is, like when God Krishna glance on or Mahavishnu glance on the Prakriti or the material nature, it agitates and creates a word called Mahan. There is actually no word, no English equivalent word for this word. And then that manifests into Ahankar. Again, like Ahankar is what? False ego, it's like pride in the literal form, say. But then also like there is Ahankar, for which like there is no real explanation of what do you mean, but we all have that false ego that we are the masters of our world. But at death, it all goes away. It's all taken away from us. How can we like say that we are the masters if we are not able to control our own death? So from when Mahavishnu glances on Prakriti, it creates this word called Mahan, and then after that Mahan manifests into Ahankar, which forms the five elements that is there, five gigantic creations or the gross creations, which are earth, water, ether, fire, and then from them the manifestation of physical, sound, touch, smell, all these gross elements appear. So this is whole like explanation how this exactly manifests it's given in the Gita, but I'm not going to delve deeper into that. And Krishna concludes that, and in the next verse he'll talk more about his spiritual energy. So these were the explanation of how the material world is basically classified, or how the Prakriti is also a part of his energy, is what he is explaining. That what will happen, what happens beyond this eightfold Prakriti material nature, he says those are his inferior energy, but the superior energy are us, the Jiva, the soul, which actually makes this body movable. That's what I think it's a bit of a heavy chapter today. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So I will just stop here. I think Manu Prabhu will pick it up from verse 5. But thank you all who read with me. Any questions before I close this? Does anyone have any question? It's pretty like theoretical, straightforward kind of thing. Oh, sorry. You have a question, Ravi?
The only object for meditation. So,
Which
so it's the second sloka in the purport.
second, yes. Yeah.
Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all causes, and the only object for meditation in all types of yoga practice. So, Krishna is the only object for meditation.
It is actually in Brahma Samhita, Brahmaji says, and we sing this prayer all the time, that Ishvara Parma Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. That Ishvara Parma Krishna. Even Brahmaji in Brahma Samhita writes that who is the Param, The source of all, the cause of all causes is Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Satchidanand Vigraha. He is the form of eternal happiness. Anadirada Govinda, he is there from like time. There is no like origin for him. Sarva Karan Karanam, the cause of all causes. And to him, he is meditating. Brahmaji, that Brahma Vimohan Leela, if anybody knows that, Brahma ji stole all the cows and then, because he had, even Brahmaji had doubt that, is he God? Like what is he doing? Being a cowherd boy and then playing with all these cowherd, other children. And so what he did was he stole the cows and kept. So Brahmaji has a different time format, right? He stole for a day, but here like a year passed. What Krishna did, well, he realized that okay, Brahmaji did that. So he expanded himself into all those cowherd boys and all those cows that he stole. And he went about like doing his own work, like all those. And then Brahmaji was like, okay, now it's time to return. And then he was so surprised to see that all those cowherd boys and the calves and the cows were still there. Then he realized his mistake, and then he offers all these prayers to Krishna. And he establishes this, like our scripture established that that's the only personality to meditate upon. And that's what in the purport Prabhupada writes. Is that
Yeah.
fair? Is that clear?
Yeah. That's the physical form.
I'm trying to think of, in fact, in here, we saw in verse 3 actually, Sripad Shankaracharya, his name was mentioned. Shankaracharya, I'm not able to like give a reference, but I have read it in like one of the lectures something that it was Shankaracharya basically who took out Gita from the Mahabharata epic. Very, he's known for his Advaita philosophy and all, but he was a very revered devotee of the Lord. Actually, it's a very beautiful story that he was walking on the banks of river Ganga in Varanasi, and he saw this old man trying so hard to learn the grammar, Sanskrit grammar, and he felt so sad looking at the old man that, oh my God, he's about to die. The death is near, and he's utilizing his life, the last moments of his life, like few years of his life, to learn this Sanskrit grammar, which is not going to help him at the time of death. What happens? What will help him at the time of death is the names of the Lord that he has even chanted or he's chanting. And then he writes this very beautiful bhajan or poem for him, and it is those who are from, I think, from South India, even from like it's played there more often that I know. It's called Bhaj Govindam. Bhaj Govindam, and he says that Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamate, Samprapte Sannihate Kale, Nahi Rakshati Dukran Karne. That Bhaj Govindam, like, oh fool, Mudhamate means fool. That what are you doing? Like, chant, take the names of Govinda. The Samprapte Sannihate Kale means at the time of death, it's not going to do nothing, it's going to save you except for the names of Lord. And in that only, like when Sripad Shankaracharya in verse 3, you see that he says that, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He writes in that verse only that Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jathare Shayanam, Iha Sansare Bahudustare Kripaya Pare Pahi Murare. That Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. That we are in this cycle of birth and death. Punarapi, again and again. Punarapi Janani Jathare Shayana. We are there in the womb of our mother, birth after birth. Iha sansare bahu dustare. There are a lot of, in this world, bahut kripaya pare pahi murare. That I just fall in this world of birth and death. The only person who can save me from is you. You know, all these. So there are different scriptures that establishes that. Does that answer? I gave a very elaborate answer, but I don't know if that helped. If not, you can always ask senior devotees. I'm sure they'll help. Which you do, I know, which is good.
I have another question.
You have another question? Yes, go ahead.
How is the false ego an element? Like false ego's I'm a man, I'm Irish.
We all have ego.
Yeah.
Why is it said false ego? Because we think that I am the doer of everything. When the element of I comes, then it becomes false ego. Ego is there, but it is false. How to change? Like if I say, oh, I am the creator of this particular thing. Did I really, like in literal sense, like I created this, I am doing this, I am doing that, I am getting all these fancy degrees, I am going on about my life and everything. But in a real sense, like I am not able to control anything. If I get a disease, I get a disease. I'm sick, I have got this fever. Why am I falling sick? I should be able to control that, right? I should be able to control a lot of things in my life. But when we see that I am the doer of everything, then that false ego, the ego which is there in ourselves. But when we see that, I am the servant of the Lord, then that ego changes. We are utilizing that. For example, Hanumanji's, who wants to give an example of? Do you want to add anything to this?
No.
We have ego, it is false because we think we are the doer, but we are not the doer. We are.
Is it an element?
How is an element?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's one of the 24 elements. That's what he says in the purport.
Yeah, mind intelligence calls it.
Yeah, so my intelligence. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Prabhu.
The false ego is I'm
It's
a
an
man,
element.
I'm Irish, I've got blue eyes. That's false ego.
Yeah. It's all me. Anything related to me. It's false.
Because it's the energy related to me.
I don't think without that any living. That's the nature of this world.
Like you think that that's your body, don't you? Yeah. You think that coat belongs to you, or that anything in this world belongs to you, but actually it doesn't. Not your body, the money you have, not the shoes you wear, not your house, not your car, not nothing. That's all false ego. Even the people in your life, you think your mother is your mother, your father is your father, your brothers and sisters, your mother, and you're not at all.
Not even your blue eyes.
Not even.
I just
Not
think
you
like
at
that. Like if I did not have a false ego, I would not be able to function according to this world. See like that. For example, that is how this world works. That we have these 3 elements and the 5 elements, like our senses and three subtle elements. That's how working. But when a guru appears in our life, an appearance of a teacher, spiritual teacher appears, then he makes you realize. And actually, I could have covered chapter 5th verse, that would have gave you a lot of clearance. Like he talks about the spiritual, the material energy Krishna touches on in Shlok 4, but in Shlok 5 he talks about the spiritual dimension of his energy, and there he talks about like that how Jeev Tattva is different from the matter that we are dealing with, and only an appearance of a guru, an appearance of a spiritual teacher can help you realize that you are not this body, you are not this like me, mine and all. I can say that false ego is what? I bought this chair, I bought this table, I'm going to use it for me, for my purpose, my progress, my etc. Me. But when as soon as I say that I bought this table so that it can be utilized for the devotional service, like you can just use this table to deliver lecture for so it changes in that way. So when false ego is like when I'm thinking more about me and and it's not like that in one day we are able to get rid of it. Like it's a constant, it's a practice throughout life. But at one point we are like, okay, I'm thinking about other people, I'm thinking about service to other people. Then that changes the example of ego to false ego to what is the true ego, serving others.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a very good one.
I don't think I can expand more on this.
No, it's like channelizing to the true self. Like
That's what our real position is. Serving others,
Yeah.
no matter what. Even like in material world, if we serve others, we feel immense joy. I did something nice for the person, and we're like, oh my god, so good.
Right.
So that's the real position of the soul. That's why I feel so blessed when we do something for someone. Like even if we were little, we would want a lot of things from our parents, isn't it? Do this, do that. But when we started growing up, like in a sense of responsibility or something develops, then we want to do things for them without wanting anything in return. What is that? A selfless service that we want to do for them, for all the good things that they provide us in our life.
Like Prabhu, you serve food, right? On every Thursday.
Yeah.
It's a service.
Okay.
Can I?
Yes. Bishop Prabhuji will say something. Yes.
I listened to lecture from Prabhupada. He explained false ego. We think I'm enjoyer, I'm supreme enjoyer, and it's a mistake because supreme enjoyer is Krishna, and all day we have choice what we need to do. I do now for yourself or for Krishna. If I choose, I do for yourself, for my enjoyment. It's false ego. It's my covered me. But if I choose, I realize what's my true, what my purpose, who I am, what I need to do, for what, for who, for Krishna, yes.
Yeah.
And I serve. It's our real position. We serve Krishna.
Correct. That's a very good point. That's it. Did it help, Keith? It is an element.
Because it's what we all believe, like naturally, that I am.
Like because
But
Krishna says it's
I'm not actually. I'm like, no.
Anyway, it is a material element. It is not a spiritual element. If you know what I mean. Like it is matter that Krishna is defining. Maya that we say. We are all under Maya. So this is what he has expanded is he's talking about the material energy, the Maya energy that we all like, oh my god, Maya, the marginal, the inferior energy of Bhagwan that traps us to this material world. He's talking about Maya only, so false ego is there. But if we'll talk about the spiritual energy, then we'll expand more on that, which is the next verse.
We all are in divine play.
Go ahead.
And also, Krishna said it's material element, but material it means temporary. Temporary it means it's temporary. In the spiritual world, we don't have this element, and
Yeah.
when Krishna creates this world, it's temporary, and temporarily subtle and another.
Temporary and transcendental.
Subtle element.
Subtle.
And opposite.
Growth.
Growth, yes.
Yeah.
And Krishna creates these elements for temporary.
Yeah. So here, like I think the essence is missed here, that we are talking about the matter. Krishna is
Okay.
expanding on the nature of this world. So false ego has to be there. Like otherwise, how can I like trap you in this world if I don't give you false ego? If I don't think this is my world, I will not live here. Like I'll not live here. Then only I'll know here, oh my god, I have to go somewhere. When I give that knowledge to you, that this is not the place for you, then only you'll be like, okay, I have to go. Snap out of it. Correct? That's the nature of this world, like false ego, the mind, the intellect that we have to utilize to even like survive, function, and the senses, sense organs. Yeah. That's all. If you have more questions, you can ask Bal Prabhu. In the next lecture, he will be more than happy to like answer all your questions. Thank you, John Prabhu. Hare Krishna. All right. So the next part of before I go, if I have made any mistake, I will really like all of you to pray for me and forgive me in your heart.
No.
I try. I am really not qualified to be like sitting here and discuss, but this is something that is in the I have been assigned a service which I just love. So that's what I'm doing here. All right.
Whatever
Thank
ma'am you
you.
did, it's so nice.
No, oh God.
Yes.
So thank you, Panch Tattva Bhagwan ki jai,
Jai.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hidai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Hari. Thank you everyone for coming here, and nice to see some new faces. I think I might have seen some of the faces here, but yeah. So welcome. I welcome you both on the behalf of ISKCON Dublin. There is some prasadam kept outside, so before you go, you can take that. If anybody wants a copy of Gita for themselves, this is the person to contact. So it is like €5. We just take €5 because we have to like cover the shipping charges because it's all imported from I think India, and just that. If you want to donate more, we're happy to do that. But that's what. So if anybody wants a copy of Gita for themselves, you can contact Ishwar Puri Prabhuji. The next part of the program is we do a Friday Kirtan, which will be led by him. So if somebody wants to stay, enjoy some very wonderful transcendental music, they can. If they want to go, it's all up to you. But I would recommend that you stay. All right. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All right. I can sing a prayer. Vaishnav Bhajan. Do you want me to sing that? I can. Okay.
Because
When will they come? Oh, all right, okay. So, Hare Krishna.
Are we done?
Yeah. It's actually 6:30 every day. Yes, but today they do it a bit early because the lecture starts at 6. So it was like, but if you want to join on a weekday, 6:30 is the time. You know.
Yeah.
Aarti, yes, 6:30 every day. Maybe a Vaishnav Bhajan. Take care. So I'm going to sing this very beautiful prayer called Mama Mana Mandire. It's a very small prayer. If people want to like less. Alright. You can Google it. It's called Mama Mana Mandire. Very beautiful prayer. And then maybe we'll start with some Kirtan. But you can all sing together. So it's like call and response. I will say one line and then you can say another. So you can open the lyrics in your phone. I'm not very great with Kirtan, so I'll sing them. I'm good at prayers, so I'll try that. Alright, have we opened it? It's called Mama Mana Mandir, M-A-N-A space M-A-N-A space M-A-N-D-I-R-E. Let me know when you are ready.
Listen now, my phone is switched off.
You can share actually. It's good to sing. We all sing for the pleasure of the Lord. That's important. It's a M-A-M-A. Yeah, very good. Okay, we'll start. Hare Krishna. Mama mana mandire rahan shri de Krishna Murari Shri Krishna Murari Mama mana mandire rahan shri de Krishna Murari Shri Krishna Murari Mama sing along Jahadi Shri Krishna Murari Shri Krishna Murari Bhakti Priti Mala Chandan Bhakti Priti Mala Chandan Tumi niyo iniyo Chittanandan Tumi niyo iniyo Jivana Marana Tava Puja Nivedan Jivana Marana Tava Puja Nivedan Sundar He Manhari Sundar He Manhari Krishna Murari Shri Krishna Murari Krishna Murari Shri Krishna Murari Mama Mana Mandire Rahani Shri Krishna Murari Shri Krishna Murari Mama Mana Mandire Rahani Shri Krishna Murari Shri Krishna Murari Iso Nanda Kumar Nanda Kumar Nanda Kumar Iso Nanda Kumar Nanda Kumar Iso Nanda Kumar Abhi prema pradeepe arati tomar prema arati tomar prema pradeepe arati tomar prema pradeepe Nayan Jamuna Dhare Adhikar Nayan Jamuna Dhare Adhikar Tomar virah giridhari Tomar virah giridhari Tomar two lines. Bandan gale, bandan gale, tab bajuk jeevana, tab bajuk jeevana. Krishna Murari, Krishna Murari, Shri Krishna Murari, Shri Krishna Murari. Mama Nama Deve, Rahane Shri Krishna Murari, Shri Krishna Murari. Mama Nama Deve, Rahane Shri Krishna Murari, Shri Krishna Murari. Right. Hare Krishna. Would you want to do some kirtan? You have to.
Wonderful bhajan.
Oh, thank you, Lord. Yes, it is a very, very beautiful bhajan. Like, oh yeah. So we can read the translation as well. I can start. I think under the same bhajan you will see like translation mentioned. So please abide in the temple of my heart, both day and night, O Krishna Murari, O Shri Krishna Murari. Devotion, love, flower, garlands, and sandalwood, please accept. Oh, please accept them, delighter of the heart. Does anyone else want to?
I worship you with these offerings, beautiful one, O enchanter of the heart.
Come, son of Nanda, and then, son of Nanda, I will offer you arati ceremony with the lamplight of my love.
The waters of the Yamuna river escaped instantly from my eyes in your separation. O order of Govardhana hill.
May I pass my life absorbed only in songs of your praise. O Krishna Murari, Shri Krishna Murari.
Jai. Thank you. So very, very beautiful prayer. Especially it's one of my favorites, I think. Alright, so we'll move on to our next part, which is Kirtan. And I would request Prabhuji to do something. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Landed tonight and tomorrow morning. In Europe, Germany. It's always busy. This time cold a bit. So even snow. In Germany? I've been Czech Republic, Slovakia.
Снова приеду.
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, slowly, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Rama.